Did you know that thousands of Toyota owners are destroying their engines right now while believing they're doing everything correctly? Every single week, mechanics across the country pull apart Toyota engines that should have lasted 400,000 miles but failed before reaching 200,000. The owners are always shocked because they followed every recommendation in the owner's manual. They never missed a dealership service appointment. They did exactly what Toyota told them to do. And that's precisely why their engines died early. Today I'm exposing 12 mistakes that Toyota owners make thinking they're protecting their investment. Stick around because mistake number 1 at the end has killed more Toyota engines than anything else on this list.
We're in trouble. There's no break.
Okay.
Freeway half mile.
Education section. Why Toyotas die early. Before we dive into these mistakes, you need to understand something that changes everything about how you maintain your Toyota. Toyota builds some of the most reliable engines on the planet, and that reputation is completely deserved. The 2ARFE, the 2GRFE, the legendary one GRFE, these power plants are genuinely engineered to run 400,000 miles without major issues when properly maintained. The problem is that most owners don't actually know what proper maintenance means. Here's the truth that Toyota will never admit publicly. The maintenance schedule printed in your owner's manual isn't designed to maximize your engine's lifespan. It's designed to get your Toyota past the warranty period without triggering expensive claims. That's 60,000 miles in 5 years for powertrain coverage in most cases. Everything in that manual is carefully calculated to keep things running just long enough for Toyota's financial responsibility to end. After that point, you're completely on your own, and the habits you developed following that manual are now slowly destroying your engine from the inside out without any visible warning signs until it's too late. Mistake number 12, following the 10,000-mile oil change interval. Every Toyota owner has heard this reassurance from their dealership service advisor at least once. They tell you that your car only needs oil changes every 10,000 miles because the engineers designed it that way. And technically speaking, they're not telling you an outright lie, but they're definitely not giving you the complete picture either. Here's what actually happens inside your engine during those extended intervals between oil changes. Your engine oil doesn't just sit there lubricating metal surfaces. It actively captures combustion byproducts, absorbs moisture from the air, neutralizes corrosive acids, and suspends microscopic metal particles that would otherwise cause abrasive damage. By the time you reach 10,000 miles, even the highest quality synthetic oil has absorbed more contaminants than it can effectively handle. The real destruction happens in the tiny grooves machined into your piston rings. These precision rings need to compress and expand thousands of times every single minute while maintaining a perfect seal against your cylinder walls. When oil breaks down and loses its protective properties, varnish deposits begin forming in these microscopic grooves. The rings gradually stick in place and stop sealing properly, which means oil starts burning and compression drops. The prevention couldn't be simpler or cheaper. Change your oil every 5,000 miles or 6 months, whichever milestone arrives first. Mistake number 11, believing in lifetime transmission fluid. Now that you understand why oil change intervals matter so much, let's talk about an even bigger maintenance myth that's destroying Toyota transmissions across the country. If you open your owner's manual and search for transmission fluid change intervals, many Toyota models show nothing at all because the manufacturer calls it lifetime fluid that supposedly never requires changing. This marketing terminology might be the most expensive lie in all of automotive maintenance. Here's what the word lifetime actually means when engineers use it in specifications. The fluid will maintain adequate protective properties for the expected lifetime of the transmission under warranty coverage conditions. That translates to roughly 100,000 miles of normal driving. Every mile you drive after that point, you're operating on borrowed time with fluid that's progressively losing its ability to protect expensive internal components. Automatic transmission fluid performs multiple critical functions simultaneously. It lubricates precision gears and bearings, transfers hydraulic pressure through passages thinner than a human hair, cools components that reach 300 degrees Fahrenheit during normal operation, and protects delicate clutch packs and valve bodies from accelerated wear. As this fluid degrades over time, it loses viscosity, becomes increasingly acidic, and gradually stops providing protection. Change your transmission fluid every 60,000 miles, regardless of what Toyota's marketing department claims about lifetime durability. Mistake number 10, ignoring the 5,000-mile maintenance light. Speaking of maintenance intervals, there's something fascinating happening on Toyota dashboards that most owners never stop to question or think about critically. Your dashboard displays a maintenance reminder light every 5,000 miles of driving, but your dealership service advisor tells you that oil changes are only necessary at 10,000 miles. Why would Toyota's engineers program a reminder at exactly half the official oil change interval if it wasn't important? The official explanation you'll receive is that the 5,000-mile reminder covers tire rotation and general vehicle inspection. The real explanation that nobody at the dealership will ever admit publicly is that Toyota's engineering team knows 5,000 miles represents the ideal service interval for most driving conditions. They simply cannot override the corporate marketing department's strategic decision to advertise impressively long 10,000-mile intervals that sound better in competitive advertising. That maintenance reminder is essentially your engine politely asking for attention and care. When you dismiss the warning and continue driving for another 5,000 miles before servicing, you're ignoring what the engineers actually intended when they designed the reminder system in the first place. Treat every 5,000-mile maintenance light as your Toyota communicating that service time has arrived, because that's exactly what the engineers wanted you to understand. Mistake number 9, using whatever oil the dealership uses. Since we're discussing oil changes and proper service intervals, let's address something that happens at dealerships across the country that most Toyota owners never think to question. You bring your beloved Toyota to the dealership for an oil change service. They charge you premium prices that suggest premium products and service. You naturally assume they're installing premium quality oil in your engine. That assumption has directly contributed to more engine failures than most people would ever believe. Here's an uncomfortable truth from someone with direct dealership experience. Most dealership service departments use the cheapest bulk oil that technically meets minimum manufacturer specifications. They're almost never using genuine Toyota motor oil, despite what you might assume from the premium pricing. They're purchasing whatever oil supplier offers them the best profit margins that month. The phrase technicians use internally to describe this practice is simply brown and slippery. The oil going into your engine might technically meet API certification minimum requirements, but barely meeting minimum specifications and actually providing optimal protection for tight tolerances are completely different outcomes for your engine's longevity. If you're paying dealership prices for oil change services, specifically demand to know exactly what brand and specification of oil they're installing in your engine. Mistake number 8, skipping the PCV valve service. Now let's move from oils and fluids to a small component that causes massive problems when Toyota owners forget it exists. There's an inexpensive part hidden somewhere in your Toyota's engine that creates enormous headaches when it gets ignored during regular maintenance. The PCV valve, which stands for positive crankcase ventilation, typically costs around $15 to replace at any auto parts store. Ignoring this tiny component can easily cost thousands in cascading engine damage. Here's what this little valve actually does for your engine every moment it's running. During normal combustion, some gases inevitably slip past your piston rings and enter the crankcase area below. The PCV valve routes these escaped gases back into the intake manifold, where they get burned during normal combustion, which prevents dangerous pressure buildup that would otherwise destroy seals and gaskets throughout your engine. When the PCV valve becomes clogged with oil deposits, crankcase pressure starts building beyond design limits. This excess pressure forces oil past seals that weren't designed to contain it. Sludge accumulates at an accelerated rate throughout the engine, and your engine slowly begins dying from the inside without any visible external symptoms. Replace your PCV valve every 60,000 miles as preventive maintenance, regardless of whether your maintenance schedule mentions it. Mistake number 7. Waiting for problems before checking coolant. From small components, let's move to the fluid that keeps your entire engine from melting itself into expensive scrap metal. Your Toyota's cooling system is engineered to operate for 100,000 miles on factory-filled coolant before requiring any attention according to maintenance schedules. That impressive design specification has convinced millions of Toyota owners that coolant represents a completely maintenance-free fluid that never needs monitoring or replacement. This assumption leads directly to expensive cooling system failures. Engine coolant performs far more functions than simply preventing freezing in winter and overheating in summer. It contains specialized chemical additives that actively prevent corrosion inside your engine block, cylinder head passages, radiator tubes, and heater core matrix. These protective additives deplete gradually over time, regardless of how many miles you drive. By 100,000 miles, your coolant might still appear perfectly pink or red when you check it visually, but its protective properties have severely diminished. When coolant stops actively protecting metal surfaces, internal corrosion begins attacking components from within. Your water pump seals deteriorate faster than designed. Radiator passages develop pinhole leaks that grow progressively worse. Head gasket sealing surfaces corrode and weaken. The aluminum components throughout modern Toyota engines are especially vulnerable to damage from degraded coolant. Test your coolant condition every 30,000 miles and replace it every 60,000 to 80,000 miles, regardless of visual appearance. Mistake number 6. Ignoring direct injection carbon buildup. Now let's discuss a problem that affects newer Toyotas specifically and gets completely ignored by official maintenance schedules. If your Toyota has a direct injection engine, and this includes the 2.0-liter turbo, the 3.5-liter V6 found in newer models, or any engine using Toyota's dynamic force technology, there's a hidden problem developing inside your intake valves right now as you're watching this video. Toyota's official maintenance schedule doesn't mention this issue anywhere. Here's why direct injection creates unique maintenance challenges that older fuel systems never experience. In traditional port injection engines, fuel sprayed directly onto intake valve surfaces, naturally cleaning away carbon deposits with every single combustion cycle. Direct injection technology sprays fuel directly into the combustion cylinder itself, completely bypassing the intake valves entirely. Without fuel constantly washing over them, carbon deposits accumulate steadily on valve stems and seating surfaces. Over extended time, this carbon buildup progressively restricts airflow into your cylinders, causes rough idle conditions at stoplights, reduces power output during acceleration, and eventually triggers misfire codes that illuminate your check engine light. Some Toyota owners report noticeably degraded performance by just 60,000 miles of normal driving. Have your intake valves professionally cleaned using walnut blasting or chemical treatments every 60,000 to 80,000 miles to prevent carbon deposits from causing expensive damage. Mistake number 5. Running the wrong oil. Viscosity. Speaking of engine protection and proper maintenance, let's address something that seems minor but causes significant long-term damage to Toyota engines. Your owner's manual specifies a particular oil viscosity rating, probably 0W20 for most current models, or even 0W16 for the newest fuel-efficient engines. This specification exists for extremely precise engineering reasons that many owners, and surprisingly even some professional mechanics, choose to ignore completely. Modern Toyota engines are manufactured with incredibly tight internal tolerances that maximize efficiency and minimize friction. The clearances between bearings and journals are measured in thousandths of an inch with no room for error. These precisely engineered clearances require thin oil that flows almost immediately at cold startup and reaches every critical component within just a few seconds. When you substitute 5W30 because someone told you that thicker oil provides better protection, or because you heard that older, high-mileage engines need heavier viscosity, you're actually starving critical components during cold starts when most engine wear occurs. That thicker oil simply takes longer to flow through narrow passages and reach components that desperately need lubrication immediately. Use exactly what Toyota specifies for your specific engine. No thicker and no thinner than what the engineers determined your engine actually needs. Mistake number 4. Neglecting brake fluid service. Moving from engine protection to something equally important for your safety, let's talk about a fluid that most Toyota owners have literally never changed in their entire ownership experience. When was the last time you changed your Toyota's brake fluid? If you're like the vast majority of owners, you've never done it once because Toyota's maintenance schedule either doesn't mention it prominently or suggests extremely long intervals that most people simply ignore. Here's why brake fluid matters far more than most people understand. Brake fluid is hygroscopic, which means it actively absorbs moisture from the surrounding air through microscopic pores in your brake lines, caliper seals, and master cylinder. Over time, the water content in your brake fluid gradually increases with every month that passes. This absorbed moisture progressively lowers the fluid's boiling point and simultaneously causes internal corrosion throughout your entire braking system. Fresh T3 brake fluid boils at approximately 400 degrees Fahrenheit under normal conditions. After 3 years of continuous moisture absorption, that critical boiling point can drop below 300 degrees Fahrenheit. During aggressive braking situations like emergency stops or descending steep mountain roads, your brake fluid can literally start boiling inside the caliper, creating compressible gas bubbles that cause terrifying brake fade when you need stopping power most. Flush your brake fluid every 2 years or 30,000 miles, regardless of what your maintenance schedule recommends. Mistake number 3, ignoring air filter. Until it's visibly dirty, from fluids, let's move to something you can actually see and touch during basic maintenance. Every single time your Toyota's engine takes a breath of air, that air passes through a paper filter element designed to catch dust, pollen, and road debris before these contaminants can reach sensitive internal components. Most owners wait until they can visually see obvious dirt accumulation on their air filter before bothering to replace it. That visual inspection approach typically means waiting about 20,000 miles too long. Here's what you simply cannot see with your eyes during visual inspections. Even when an air filter looks relatively clean on the surface, microscopic pores throughout the filter media are progressively becoming clogged with particles too small to see with the naked eye. Airflow restriction increases gradually with every mile you drive. Your engine works progressively harder just to breathe normally. Fuel economy drops without you noticing the slow decline. Overall performance suffers in ways too subtle to feel immediately. A restricted air filter also allows your engine to run slightly rich as the computer compensates for reduced airflow measurements. This rich condition accelerates oil dilution in your crankcase, increases carbon buildup on valves and pistons, and shortens spark plug lifespan, all problems that compound over time into expensive repairs. Replace your air filter every 15,000 to 20,000 miles, regardless of how clean it might appear visually. Mistake number 2, driving hard before the engine warms up. Now we're getting into driving habits that damage engines without any parts or fluids being involved at all. You start your Toyota on a cold winter morning after it's sat outside all night. You let it idle for 30 seconds while you buckle your seatbelt and adjust your mirrors. Then you immediately merge onto the highway on-ramp and accelerate to cruising speed because you're running late for work. That single sequence of events, repeated hundreds of times over years of daily commuting, causes more cumulative internal wear than most Toyota owners would ever believe. When your engine sits overnight in cold temperatures, oil gradually drains back down into the oil pan and thickens considerably. When you start the engine the next morning, that cold, thick oil needs significant time to circulate through miles of internal passages and reach every critical component that needs protection. Your pistons, cylinder walls, valve train components, and especially your turbocharger bearings all desperately need adequate oil flow before you demand maximum performance from them. Cold, hard acceleration creates direct metal-on-metal contact in precision components that are specifically designed to never actually touch each other during normal operation. Keep RPMs below 2,500 and avoid heavy throttle inputs until your temperature gauge reaches normal operating range, which typically takes 5 to 10 minutes of gentle driving. Mistake number 1, trusting dealership service without verification. This final mistake destroys more Toyota engines than every other mistake on this list combined, and it's the hardest truth for loyal Toyota owners to accept. The mistake is blindly trusting that dealership service automatically means proper service, assuming that because you paid premium prices at the dealer, you received premium products and care in return. Believing that simply following manufacturer recommendations protects your investment completely. Here's the uncomfortable reality of how dealership service actually works behind the scenes. Dealership technicians are paid on a flat-rate commission system. They're financially incentivized to complete jobs as quickly as humanly possible, not as thoroughly as your engine actually needs. That multi-point inspection printed on your service receipt, it's often performed in the 30 seconds it takes to walk around your parked car and glance at things superficially. That expensive synthetic oil you paid premium prices for, it might actually be the cheapest bulk oil that barely meets minimum specifications. Owners who follow every dealership recommendation without questioning anything often end up facing massive repair bills because nobody ever told them that manufacturer intervals protect warranty claims rather than engine longevity. You are your Toyota's only true advocate in this relationship. Verify exactly what oil brand is being installed. Question extended service intervals that seem too good to be true. Understand that maintenance schedules protect Toyota's warranty liability rather than your engine's maximum lifespan. 12 mistakes that are slowly destroying Toyota engines across the country, while owners genuinely believe they're doing everything correctly. Now you understand the complete truth about what your Toyota actually needs versus what you've been told it needs. Comment your Toyota model and current mileage below. I'll personally tell you which specific mistake is most likely affecting your engine right now. That's not basic car maintenance. That's Toyota intelligence.